News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
Newstalk, KGVO, AM 1290 and 101.5 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
It's the day of decision for Montana and the nation. Good morning, everyone. Montana Morning for Tuesday, November 8th, 2016. Election day is here at last. All right, the sky is clear. We have 30 degrees in Missoula. Our newscast this morning, sponsored by Western States Cat, located on Reserve, has some things you may need for winter, like deals on batteries and antifreeze, along with special offers on Caterpillar hats, socks, coats, toolboxes, and toys. Of course, our top story today, Montana voters heading to the polls to choose their next president, governor, U.S. House representative, and a range of down-ticket races. Most polling stations across the state will open in about 55 minutes. At 7, they'll close at 8 o'clock tonight. Even before the first poll opens, though, many Montana voters have already cast their absentee ballots. The Secretary of State's office said almost 280,000 absentee ballots had been received as of yesterday. There are more than 684,000 registered voters in the state. Along with top-of-the-ticket races, Montana voters will be deciding on an open seat for the state Supreme Court, 4 competitive statewide offices, 125 legislative seats, and 4 citizen initiatives. During the early voting period, young voter turnout nationwide has lagged, according to a poll by AIF. About half as many people age 18 to 34 have cast their votes so far, compared with the 2012 presidential election. Rachel Huff-Doria with Forward Montana says millennials are the largest and most diverse generation in the country's history. And she said they can change the election if they vote today.
We're a major voting bloc this year, and this isn't just nationwide, but even in Montana, a quarter of all registered voters are millennials. So we have a really big voice this year, and it's important that we all get out and vote and use our voice.
Huff-Doria says her organization will be holding Election Day watch parties in Missoula, Bozeman, and Billings. Democratic Governor Steve Bullock and Republican challenger Greg Gianforte have spent more than a year trying to win over Montana voters. But there's one factor that's out of their control and foremost in voters' minds today: the presidential election. U of M political scientist Rob Salden said it's unclear how the top race might affect voter turnout. He says both campaigns should be worried about how the chaos and uncertainty of the presidential campaign may affect down-ballot races. Montana voters typically throw their support behind Republican presidential candidates, and Republican Donald Trump figures to win the state this year. But that doesn't mean down-ticket Republicans can rest easy. In the last 3 presidential elections, Montana voters have elected the Democratic candidate as governor while picking the GOP presidential candidate. The most expensive U.S. House race in Montana's recent history comes to a head today as Democrat Denise Juneau seeks to oust Republican incumbent Ryan Zinke after just one term. The 2 major party candidates combined spent more than $8 million on the race for the state's sole House seat. It began with a heavy focus on policy issues, with Zinke, a former Navy SEAL, pushing for limits on Syrian refugees and a stronger defense. Juneau has promoted her experience boosting graduation rates as the state's school chief, but the contest is ending on a more rancorous note as Juneau has pounded Zinke for supposedly wanting to sell off public lands. Zinke's responded with advertisements blaming Juneau for school bus drivers that have criminal histories. 49-year-old Ken Mayberry of Lincoln appeared in Missoula Justice Court yesterday, charged with felony assault with a weapon. According to court documents, the incident occurred at Lolo Hot Springs in August, and a warrant was issued for Mayberry's arrest. Deputy Missoula County Attorney Amber Henning asked Judge Marie Anderson to continue the $50,000 arrest warrant.
He has a lengthy criminal history, including felony convictions for check fraud and escape. He has also had at least 1 fugitive complaint filed against him. The defendant's violent propensity and history of absconding makes him a danger to the community and a flight risk.
Judge Anderson set bail at $25,000 and ordered Mayberry to appear for another hearing on November 22nd. Missoula police have been busy finding people on outstanding warrants so far. In the past few days, Missoula Public Information Officer Travis Welsh says at least 4 people have been found on warrant follow-ups.
Last Friday at about 11:06 p.m., officers were looking for a subject who had outstanding warrants by the name of Brandon Ramsey, a 31-year-old male. They did encounter him in the 1900 block of Brook Street, where he was taken into custody for his warrant, and also he was found to be in possession of methamphetamine.
The next day, police found 3 other people with warrants out for their arrest, all in one home.
On Saturday, evening, just before 11 p.m. Officers went to a residence in the 1600 block of Cooley Street looking for a person with outstanding warrants, and they did arrest 3 persons at this residence for the warrants, one of whom was also found to be in possession of methamphetamine.
The woman arrested for meth at the house on Cooley Street was identified as 35-year-old Crystal Marceau. Cattle ranchers in Montana are facing a tough market this year as calf prices are plummeting. MSU economist George Haynes explains.
A couple of years ago, the calf prices in Montana, they were selling just a little less than $3 a pound, kind of in that $2.75 to $3 a pound sort of range. And today I'm looking at calves that are selling in that less than $1.50 sort of range. So it's been really a substantial downturn in calf prices. You're looking at half of what they were able to get in 2014.
This downturn will impact all Montanans indirectly, as Montana's agriculture sector is a major player in the state's economy.
The livestock and crop sector in Montana probably around 13% or something like that, and both the crop and livestock sectors are down substantially now. So it has some impact. These businesses are less profitable, and they have less money to spend at implement dealers and supply folks. So it ripples through the economy like that, and so it's had some impact.
Haynes said the downturn in prices will put a great deal of pressure on ranches that have expanded in recent years, but said most Montana ranchers are pretty conservative. They're likely able to weather the ups and downs of this particular market. Scientists from the U.S. and Denmark are launching a study to map out the underground plumbing system responsible for Old Faithful and other blasting geysers and boiling hot springs of Yellowstone Park. Throughout this month, the research team will be flying over the park with a helicopter and will hoist a giant hoop-shaped electromagnetic device that acts like an X-ray. They want to peer beneath the Earth's surface to determine where and how water flows among geysers. Lead scientist Carol Finn with the U.S. Geological Survey says the team also hopes to gain insights into the infrequent but sometimes massive hydrothermal explosions that occur in the park. A crater left by one of those explosions is several kilometers across. Finn says similar work elsewhere in the U.S. has helped to reveal hazards from possible earthquakes in the area. Our news talk time now is 6:12.
News Talk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Patchy areas of freezing fog this morning will give way to mostly sunny skies this afternoon with our high temperatures in the low 50s. Areas of freezing fog tonight, otherwise mostly clear with our lows right around the freezing mark. I'm meteorologist Brooke Foster for KECI 13.